Yo! I think somebody got that last part. Count down to 1.
That was a good countdown.
That was a great countdown, Justin. Good job. Hey, everybody. It's Tuesday, December late. I don't know what the actual day number is. Oh, it's 29th, right before New Year's. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, or if you didn't, have a Happy Holidays, or whatever. Hope you had a good time. Today is a long-awaited.
Come on, get it together.
Guest. We've been efforting this guest forever, and he's just been
we've been efforting him
snobbish. Yes, and it took us a while to secure
I
the
would go
rights
with reluctant.
for
I don't know
time
about
to release.
snobbish. Snobbish makes him sound
Hey,
terrible.
Mr. Greg Zuniga, how are you doing today, buddy?
good. How you doing?
I'm gonna take my sunglasses off so I can see what the F's going on. So, did you work today?
I did. So, treatment today ran over and made it to here real fast.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So you took a half day to
really
come play with us.
Yep.
Man, that's some sacrifice.
For those that do not know Mr. Zuniga, Greg has been coming and hanging out with us for years and coming to ReaperCons and Gen Cons and all these other cons that I don't even know about. Northwest Con, Northeast Cons and historical cons, and he's Mr. Con. And Greg is a physical therapist. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. And he is Mr. Hobby. I mean, you do everything within the hobby. And
I try to.
It's not just like you focus on, I'm just a painter, I'm just this. So you are into everything. And where you may know Greg too is Wicked Elf Studio. Wicked Elf Studio is Wicked Elf
Miniatures.
It's Wicked Elf Miniatures. And so you have Wicked Elf minis, and you have various products. So, and some of the products that we've shown off on the show before is your little vellum pieces. And you didn't do the miniature, but all these little butterflies, you made these. You cut these on a laser printer, right, with vellum.
Yep.
What was like your where'd you get the idea, I guess, where I'm trying to go with this, stumbling along?
Okay, so inspiration from you a bit. So I know we talked a lot about basing before and trying to improve basing, and I try and improve my painting, but basing really does.
I'll take full credit for everything.
Figure. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the vellum is because Michael's thin and transparent and pale, right?
Well,
thanks, co-host.
He's in Colorado.
Yeah.
But building that basing, and the one thing I had problems basing was plants. A lot of the plants are either the static grass, buffalo tufts, with HO or model train kind of stuff onto it, or the plants you see are more construction paper based or cardstock, and they're meant for 75 millimeter or larger figures. So I got a cutter machine and started trying to play with the butterflies first for a while. A lot of design and redesign on the butterflies because it was a small detail that I knew I would like to do. Yeah, it's a splash of color. You know, a dark scene and having a butterfly on it puts a nice effect into it. So just trying to improve.
Well, the neat thing that you did is if you get one of your sheets, it isn't just one kind of butterfly. You have different variations. It's shape. I don't know the kinds or the species or whatever of each kind.
They're fictitious species at this point in time. In order to get them cut consistently, I took the general body shape, but some of them are missing some of the features of that particular species. But it's close enough at scale that it works out well.
Oh, cool.
We have a question already in chat. Greg, do you ship to the UK?
So actually in the UK, let me pull it up. We actually have a carrier in the UK.
Ah.
It's gonna be mad at me for.
Do you have a store that's been carrying your stuff?
Yeah.
Yep. WAMP in the UK has been carrying my stuff.
So WAMP.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, they're big. Yeah. Awesome. Congratulations. I didn't know that.
Thank you. I just picked up the full line not too long ago. In fact, I sponsored their painting contest, and I gave a prize for most creative basing.
Oh,
and someone actually did a pretty neat.
One thing that.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Someone did a nice creative scene where they were actually showing like the backyard, recapturing like the wheelbarrow and overgrowth. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, I did skip forward a little bit. Normally, today, going to be kind of finishing up Lizette. She is January's Bones figure. So if you do the $40 in the gifts in the Reaper store, you can add her as a free miniature. So she is based on an iconic sculpt by Werner Klock, and this is a reimagining by Bobby Jackson. So,
and this is Bones USA?
Yeah, this is Bones USA. I'm sorry, Bones in the USA. You can sing your own song. But she's cool, super cool figure. Bobby held pretty tight to the original concept piece, but added his own kind of bobbiness to it too. Increased the scale, I think, a tiny bit. I don't have the original, but this
she could use a butterfly.
She could use a butterfly.
She could use a butterfly.
Then, you could sell her, and then everybody say, "Where's the freaking butterfly?" So that she wouldn't come with a butterfly.
True.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to do that to everybody. But that's, if you watch the show, then there you go. I'm going to get this. And since it was free, you can go over to Wicked Elephant. You can buy some butterflies with the money you saved on getting her for free.
That's tremendous. You see how we roll it all together here. This is wonderful.
So, Greg, I wanted to hear a little bit more of why you do what you do. What got you into? We like to do origin stories, especially with our painters and our sculptors. What got you into the hobby? Did you start as a kid? Did you leave for a while? Did you come back to it?
So I started older than most people in the hobby. I pretty much started more after high school and into college. Started playing with the miniatures for D&D games. It's a lot of arguments of where people were located at, but I really didn't start painting until I actually was in college. I found it as a significant stress relief from classes. For PT school, I was taking like 21 credits a semester, so I was a little exhausted. Played with friends, played up there by school. This is the time when Confrontation was out. So I enjoyed, turns out I enjoyed painting more than I did playing with the people in Connecticut in RPG games. So that just became more fun. My very first
Is that a comment on you enjoying painting more, or a comment more on the people in Connecticut?
Painting more. It was more fun.
Oh, okay.
It's more relaxing.
Please send your comments
Please
send comments about this in Connecticut directly to Michael Proctor.
Great.
To be fair,
General Delivery in
directly.
Colorado.
My very first, when I started working, my boss actually asked me if I was planning to take any vacations because I was so used to working. I actually worked a year straight without taking a vacation. I just was used to it from school. So I actually went to the first and only SoCal Gen Con. And I think that's when it really took off because I legitly took every painting class slot that they had for 4 days. They got to the point where they actually didn't clean up after me. They just handed me the plates and I re-prepped the classroom for them. And that's pretty much
total immersion. Total immersion.
Yeah, it was Sue.
What year was?
Sue got me
What
coming
year
to Gen
did you really
Con.
start?
Oh, this is 2006, 2007.
Okay. Wow. So still kind of, relatively new into it. I mean, it is 14 years, but yeah.
Yep. Well, so especially for some people started so young comparatively. I didn't get into it till older. I didn't do like the model train stuff or the model plane stuff like my father or anything like that. But yeah, it was definitely the RPG and then getting into it that way. I went to Gen Con and then got recruited to do like the historical shows. And then I got told about my, what would become my favorite little show, ReaperCon. Because at the time it was the smaller show, so you could actually legitly, leave your cell phone and walk away and it's going to be there still.
Yeah, and that was when it's at the Reaper facility and everything.
Yeah. I think I was like 4 feet away from the bucket of all the paint because everything was packed into the whole facility.
Yeah, no, those were, Jason and I talked about that a couple times. Those were very interesting and fun cons. You missed that kind of portion thing about it, but also at the same time, I'm happy to see how big it's gotten and how many more people can enjoy it and are into it. Yeah.
Honestly, because I've even started bringing friends to the shows now.
Oh, that's great. I've noticed that Greg's stuff has gone from stuff I would admire and realize that I could never do it to stuff I admire and realize I could never even think about doing it. I mean, you've really ramped up your style on some of the latest pieces I've seen.
I'm a growth of ReaperCon. I actually had my first bronze medals from ReaperCon, where I thought I was a good painter, and learned how to grow up from there with feedback and advice, and went from silver to gold, and getting invited into the judging team and such. So I really do feel like ReaperCon's my con, because that's the place where I feel like I made the most growth at.
Tremendous. What was your favorite piece in the last ReaperCon that you did?
Oh, that I did.
Yeah.
Because I tried a lot of new stuff. I did the one with the adventurer and the drider on the ceiling. Maybe not my most successfully done one, but I did try a lot of things with it.
Yeah, that was really neat.
Webbing, building a lake in the underground scene for it. Some things I would do different in the diorama after redoing it, but it's also what I like to do. I like to try and make something different, or try and do a different basing piece, or just trying to give them a different angle if I can.
Yeah, I really like that piece. You and I talked about that a lot in your development of it, and then even afterwards. It was such a great idea. And I wanted to touch a little bit back what Jason said to you. And I think this is important for especially a lot of painters that are trying to come up and develop. You went from a bronze, as you said, and now you're a solid gold painter. And talk to us about, there were some hard decisions you had to make and hard commitments you had to make. Talk a little bit about
So it's frustrating, because I know you like to get the gold, and even when I was on the verge of that gold, I know that's where a lot of people get frustrated at and stuck at. It's hard, because the step up between bronze and silver and the step up between silver and gold feel much different between each other. And there were times when, I had to count pretty much everyone at Reaper a friend, but there's times even after judging I couldn't ask a judge for advice right away, because I had to walk away and cool down, because I thought I did so well. I did it. Like, how? Why? No. I think it was the last time we were in the strip mall. I had to go take a walk before. I had to take a walk before I could even come back to ask advice or feedback.
Right.
Just because it does feel
so how did you get from that super frustration level, right? You put your heart, your soul at the time, swallow it, right? Come back and ask for that. Because I know personally, I've struggled with that at times. And so how did you do that?
That's a quitting point for a lot of people.
It
is.
So my big thing is, I know you guys. I've met you guys. I've talked to you for shows. It's nothing personal. It's not anything malicious. It's a judgment call, and that's tough. And actually now, after doing judging, I almost like, it's tough, because I want to give a person a good thing, but I'm still judging and trying to find where a person should be sitting at. It's a judgment call. So my best thing I could do was get feedback, and then honestly work on the things that I agreed with or I thought of. And you don't always have to agree with all the advice that you're given or the feedback that you're given. And sometimes you need more clarification too. So not being afraid to ask, okay, well, what do you mean by more contrast? I went to white, I went to black. I think Rhonda talks about this too in one of her classes. But you didn't add any textures to everything. Everything is so smooth that nothing stands out well. There's no warm and cold contrast. And asking more questions to development, or getting good feedback even too. Getting to know everyone, I started actually being more free to use, like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you look at this picture real fast? And see how I'm out of track, or getting better feedback in that process too. A lot of us have friends that are really good, honest feedback, and we don't use them enough. I have a friend, John Dawkins, who is brutal at reviewing my figures. And I also am good friends with Jessica Rich, and Jessica will tell me everything that's wrong with my figure, and then some. But it gives me a chance to improve it before I take it to judging. I know I've spent the hours into doing that portion of it, and I really enjoy the process alone as well. So even if my figure didn't do as well as I did, I spent great time at it. I enjoyed it. I refer to painting as my zen, and I truly mean that. And I think I like to think it shows. I spend more time on the figures. I'm enjoying the process more. My muscle memory on my painting gets better because I'm just painting. And that really helps out the process too.
So with that growth and with everything that you've gone and achieved, looking back, what's like one or two things that you would say, hey, these are a couple of things for a painter wanting to progress like you did, a couple of tips that you can give them on leveling up or getting where
practice,
they want to be?
Practice a blending method first before you practice every blending method. So
I like that.
Feel that you have a good control over your paintbrush and good quality control with that portion, with the brush control. And then you can find a blending method that works out well for you. But you can have a place to start with. You know what a smooth blend is, and you can feel comfortable with it. And whether it's the 2-brush blend or the 1-brush or all the different ways to get the wet blending done or a blend done, you feel comfortable with one, and then you can branch out from other ones and find what works best for your particular method of doing it.
So pick a technique and then try to master it before you move to a different technique. Is that what?
Yeah, especially solid foundational stuff, because you're going to use a blend, whether you're doing skin tones, whether you're going to do non-metallic metal, whether you're going to do OSL. Your blends are going to have to be comfortable. So by working on one of them first, if you're having a rough time, you can always fall back on a fundamental, and then kind of build from there. So yeah, you might be a faster blender in this style, but if you're having a rough time with it, I really have mastered this one, so let me fall back and get comfortable with it. And I kind of do that myself.
Advice.
No, that's great.
Especially when I'm having tried OSL.
One said, Hey, Dogfather one said, I think ReaperCon entries should be anonymous, so judges are not having feelings about knowing the person and judging only on the model, even if they don't mean to. If they know the person, there'd be a subconscious bias. As the organizer, chicken wrangler of the cat wrangler of the judges, we do recommend, if you feel, and Greg, I know you've even felt like, I know this person too well, I have to recuse myself. And so we have, and we have, what's the term? What's the title of the person? We have followers or whatever that aren't actively judging, but they're there to step in. And that's what when I'm there too, I will step in. If someone feels, I helped this person with this piece, I'm too close to them, I don't feel I can do it. But also at the same time, I think our judging teams are very good about, alternate. There you go. That's a very difficult word to remember. But also taking and putting aside your personal feelings and being able to judge a piece. That's what we look for our judges as well.
The fact that we have 3 judges, it depends on the judging team. I know from mine itself that there's a lot of conversation. If a person's being too tough on a person because, hey, this person and you're just being excessively tough on this person, my judging team will call a person out on that one. Hey, you rated this one over here.
May not judge again.
Yeah. And I know you watched those numbers.
And the reverse is true too. The reverse is true. If I see things, we see things being a little too lax, it'd be, I'm joking, but we're very hesitant to yank anybody and throw them in the trash. But we do aim for consistency. And I think the 3-person judging team with an alternate, so you really have 4 around it, and you guys are always talking and conversing. I think it's, if anything, I think the fairness is what we focus on most of all, and trying to be consistent and fair.
And as far as I'm aware of, there's nothing in the Reaper system that would prevent a person from putting in their pieces as anonymous.
Absolutely true. Yeah, you can do that if you want. And
under a different name.
Yeah.
Yep. And I like I like to include the names because we get a lot of folks in that come in and teach, and they're trying to build their name and their reputation. And this is exposure for them, for the general audience, people taking classes to then come and see, hey, the teacher, the guy I just took that class from, that Greg Zuniga guy, he's not full of BS. Look at his stuff. It's pretty damn good, and they can see your piece entered and it looks awesome. I love that, and I've been told that many times. God, the instructors, their pieces are so awesome.
Which I feel in every class I'm teaching, because I'm painting so fast in class. Like, no, I really know how to paint. I promise you. Right. Because you're trying to do it fast in class versus taking your time to do.
It'd be nice to have an instructor showcase, maybe.
That's a good point. That's a good question. I mean, that's a good idea. We did a little bit of that at the virtual ReaperCon.
Right.
Rhonda and me and Derek and Jen on. But yeah, it'd be nice to do that again and talk a little bit more.
I think maybe we could put that
especially
up
as we get closer.
Yeah, we could put that up online even during the in-person convention.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
So you were talking. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was going to ask Greg simply, is when you started judging, how did that affect your painting, or did it?
Significantly. All the stuff I started looking at for when I was painting, it's a whole new set of eyes when you start judging it as well, and then you start reflecting back on your painting as well. So one thing I really start watching for is now my consistency when I paint. I did this to this level, and I phoned it in on this piece or this part of it, because that's something that really stands out to me now with either terrain or basing or the paint job, or you did fantastic on all the armor, but the sword looks a little dull because you didn't finish out the M&M quite there. That definitely affects my painting now, because now I'm so used to looking for those things as far as judging that I'm actually looking for them in my own painting, which sometimes is frustrating because I kick my own butt more than anything else sometimes. Right.
Yeah. So you think that in a way has helped you level up even more once you started being more actively judging? Yeah. I'm looking at things with more of a critical eye. And even painters that I admire now with a more critical eye, because I have that judge's brain on. Like, well, they did that good. Wow, that was some weird color choices. But I see why they made that decision, or I'm looking at more styles now. Because I want to familiarize myself with more texturing, or that historical style, or this, different things you see. So where can I help out mine, or where can I steal a technique from somebody else? Right. Stealing's always good. I encourage stealing. Especially in painting. Nowhere else, though. Did you have a question, Chase?
Let me see. Oh, yeah. So there's a number of components when you were talking about your evolution, all the way through painting, fandom to painting, to judging a painting. There's a number of components, and it's not only technique. There's some mental discipline involved, and some emotional wrangling involved too. I mean, I imagine to walk up to somebody that you consider to be a far better painter, or someone a little more famous or recognizable in the painting world, to walk up to them and ask them for a critique, an honest critique, I would think that's a pretty giant step. I mean, I don't ask anybody what they think of my work. Because I don't really give a crap, but I know that some people really do.
Oh yeah, it can be a gut punch at times, especially depending on the person, and depending on the phrasing, and depending on the show. Let's be honest, at cons, we're not always our best people. We're big toddlers. We're tired and hungry, and may have had a little too much to celebrate the night before. So sometimes the phrasing isn't exactly what's the most thought out or diplomatic. But that person still means honest feedback, and they're still trying to give it that portion of it. And you're also not that person to always receive feedback, especially at shows and cons. So sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, let me sit on this, or let me sleep on it the next night. is what they're saying I agree with because I'm seeing it, or am I not agreeing with it because I feel I don't agree with it, or am I just being
Sure.
frustrated and argumentative?
Yeah.
Um,
Honest feedback is a delicate dance. I mean,
it's
for the
tough.
person giving
It's
it and the
so tough.
person receiving it.
It's so tough. You want to give a person feedback because there's always something that someone does really well. You're not spending any time in this hobby without doing something well. It's just growing out from there that is the tough part sometimes. And that's why I find like having that foundational thing, that one thing that you feel comfortable with, and growing out from there is such a big important step.
Yeah.
But yeah, sit on it sometimes. I've had Sue usually gives a feedback of higher highlights and darker shadows, and I had that still sitting behind my paint rack as a reminder of the fundamental advice I was given, because I was going far enough with my highlights, or I wasn't going far enough with my shadows. And the directions, okay, go one more, and then now go one more, take it down one more, and try and push back and forth from there. So it's tough. You're going to be frustrated, and it's going to be, not you're going to be frustrated. I shouldn't say it that way. You're going to have moments where you think you've done and you have more room to grow, and the plateau is a real thing. You're going to plateau a little bit before you can start stepping up in growth again. And that's the same thing when I'm treating patients. That muscle has to grow before you can take the next step. A tissue needs to heal before you can take the next step. Sometimes the only thing you need to work on the technique is time, or a different teacher, or a different wording. I've taken a lot of non-metallic metal classes before I could get it comfortably. It just took kind of a someone saying it this way and someone saying it this way for my brain to actually make it work out for me. Because until about 2 years ago, I was never comfortable painting non-metallic metal.
Yeah. I think it's always good to look, this is a hobby. This is supposed to be fun. And the majority of us, that is just a hobby. And we need to remember we're always trying to have fun. And if you want to get better, it's awesome. I saw Kiro Ninko 589. I know I slaughtered. I'm always nervous when I post pics of my minis online. I always think someone will say, "Why are you doing this?" Don't think that. If someone, maybe there probably is somebody some douche out there is going to say that. Well, they're a douche, and it doesn't matter. Problem. Have fun and enjoy it. You're exactly right. Problem. It's their issue.
You have a done figure. If they're on the internet complaining about your painted figures, they should be painting.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, that's exactly. So have fun with it and have feedback. Somebody else and I the chat's gone by said they came up to me at their first ReaperCon and was intimidated by coming up to me. I hope I was at least nice. I hope I was. And somebody asked about giving feedback. What's the best way to give feedback? And I've mentioned this before, and Greg and I have talked about this. What I try to do, if somebody comes up and they show me their piece and they want feedback, one of the things I want to get a sense from them and how accepting are they of feedback. Sometimes people just want to hear this looks nice or this looks good because they're not ready or they're not open enough for feedback, and that's totally fine. But I will ask, so you tell me, what'd you get in the awards? Were you happy with it? Did you get a bronze, or say they got a silver and you're really happy with that? I'm like, well, then I'll say, what are you most proud of in this piece? And they'll tell me, and I'll say, yeah, that's really cool. I like what you did with that. I like your blending here. I think that's really nice. And it'll all be honest feedback. But then the next question I'll ask is, what do you wish would have come out better? And I think if you are learning to give feedback, but I also, if you're looking at your own pieces and trying to critique your own feedback or your own piece, what do you really like about what you did? And what, like, you look at it and go, I wish I could have done this better. And then find that thing and find something and study it a little bit more, or, reach out to some folks and get some feedback on improving that skill a little bit. So back to Greg. So let's talk a little bit about Wicked Elf. Did you bring some of your great vellum cutouts that we could throw on screen real quick?
Put this on that for This is
Justin. Hey Justin, are you awake?
There we go. He's got it.
I'm not sure it's focusing out the best though for my camera.
Okay, I've got some too that I can throw under my
Yeah.
camera if we
That might be a little bit better.
Focus.
So those are cut through
so-
to a substrate and slightly adhesive.
So they're sprayed with a slight adhesive that actually dries them out. For the most part, it eventually comes out to be static electricity that winds up holding it down. I needed something to
And
make
that's
sure
pretty-
with the machine.
That's a lot stouter than I thought it was when I originally saw pictures of your product, and then when I actually had some in hand, because I had worried about how the paint would take to it, because I was thinking it was paper and it was just going to turn, mushy if I hit it with paint. But that's pretty tough stuff.
Especially once you let it dry. So if you
tough.
work it for a while, the vellum still takes a little bit. And I use a cotton vellum versus a traditional vellum, which is a goat skin. I just find it cuts better.
Bobby would be
starts
upset.
getting a little too. Was it?
Bobby'd be mad if you were using goat skin.
It's a little gruff on everything.
I don't know where Michael went.
He wandered off.
He's probably looking for his goat skin.
It handles out pretty well. It can get over soaked if you're doing a lot of glazes and washes onto it, but it dries out fairly well and it firms up nicely too. It holds a shape well once it's fully painted.
Right, you'll not get that thinness in any other kind of castable material, which is why the butterflies and the flowers and the palm fronds, those are so successful, I think, because, we've all worked with etched brass, which is about the next thinnest thing you can get. And that even seems a little thick sometimes.
Yeah, there's a few that are construction paper based. They're usually bigger, though. They're meant for like the 75 millimeter scale on like the historical displays. That's what I was using when I first kind of started cutting them myself and just kind of building up from there. Also, just some of the cheats, I also enjoy the fact that the ferns, to make my life easier since they're attached as a group of 6, you could actually just pull them all together at once, rather than trying to plant ferns separately the entire time.
Right, so you poke down the center and you're set.
Yep.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
Yep, and then
There's some lily pads. Yeah.
Which, those look familiar.
Came about because of Jason.
Yeah,
I have a credit on that. Yeah,
you do have a credit on that one.
Your name's right back here somewhere. It's right there, I think. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So there's that, and then
I think I'd seen what you were doing, and I had the need of some lily pads, and it popped into my head. I think because I was thinking of an origami lily pad I had seen, and the different parts that it was constructed from.
Yep, and likely have some of the test shapes in there because I think I have the leaves that should be coming out fairly soon. So I'm actually going to have, instead of just the dyed birch pod leaves, actually making some actual leaf designs and leaf shapes, and then some other kind of fern shapes. So there's some test sheets and some modification sheets coming up.
Well, last year Greg had talked to me about doing some palm trees. And in the run-up to this interview, I got to poking around on my hard drive, and lo and behold, there was some palm trees. I don't think I ever had sent a picture of them to Greg. I think that was right before we all got steamrolled by the virus. And so today I actually sent them, and I think I'm going to get another credit on one of Greg's products.
Absolutely. And then actually the next one I want to try and work with you on is I want to make some bamboo.
I was thinking about that today. That'd be pretty good.
That's not.
Do you have?
I think the only.
Oh, go ahead.
The only thing I've seen for that bamboo is metal so far. So I want to try and make something out of resin.
Definitely. So anyway, more
Bobby
products
Jackson
upcoming.
Is on.
Yeah,
well, Bobby Jackson is on, and he wanted to make sure we have clarification that Pugh is the one that is infatuated with goats, and that Bobby likes goats with fries. There's such a strong connection that Bobby has. Yeah, right? I didn't know that. I've never really thought that. I think, Bobby lives too much in Pugh. There's too much of Pugh, too much of Bobby Jackson in Pugh that it's hard to separate the two, don't you agree, Jason?
in his soul.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
any of our
think so.
characters are part of ourselves, right, Abran?
What? I like to murder things.
Well, and the whole ab thing. I mean, I know, we don't show it on this channel, but I know on some of your other channels, you show off your
I don't
abs
know,
a
Michael.
little bit more.
I've been through 2 dungeon experience with you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I do miss that from Gen Con. Gen Con is fun, but I like ReaperCon, of course, a ton better. But True Dungeon, that was so much fun. I really enjoyed doing that. Totally.
I enjoy ReaperCon. A lot of us are doing a lot of things at ReaperCon now. The few times for Gen Con was just nice because it's like, okay, let's go play. Like, okay, you don't have this schedule, you don't have that schedule, let's just go play.
Yeah.
The True Dungeon experience was a fun one.
Yeah. So physical therapy.
Yep.
Give some advice to our us painters and sculptors that sit on our butts all day long and sit at our desk on proper posture and keeping from having those creaky bones and back pain and all that stuff as well.
So the biggest thing
we're
most people
patient
can
right
do
now, and you're giving us advice. Yeah.
Is set their desk higher. So a standard desk height is really built for like paperwork and typing and not small fiddly tiny work.
Is this high enough?
So raising a desk, it depends. So no. A little higher. Let's see, get you out of frame.
Not for the show, anyway.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Is that good?
So if you're an elbow bracer, the loose chair is fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you're an elbow bracer, you want to put your elbow somewhere where you're feeling natural at. For a forearm bracer, it should be a nice forward position, so you don't feel you're bringing your body forward in it. So most chairs are okay and can be modified to a good chair and good posturing. What kills most people is the curl of painting when they start kind of bringing their head closer and closer to the figure versus the figure more and more to them. And the easier thing you can do for that is actually bring up the desk, so the desk is coming up towards you, so that way you feel less that urge to curl. I've had a few friends when we go over like paint night, we actually and we do this in the HFGS group too. On the painter side, a lot of times there's a 2x4 we put the lights into, and I actually lean against that because it lifts the desk a little higher for me versus that normal table surface. If you can try and have your feet square versus tucking under, or a chair that's a reasonable height for you, so that way you can bring it up a little higher, so that way you're extending out the spine. And frequent breaks. Any position is tolerable as long as you actually take a rest often enough. Making sure you stretch the spine, straighten up. So occasionally I'll stream myself, and I'll try about every hour or so to encourage people to straighten up. Remember to breathe again. Because we all start holding our breath when we start doing little figures. Stretch the neck. A lot of times in painters, you find the upper traps really tight because as we get tired or focus, we start getting this portion going. So bringing it back. Exactly. Just like that, Michael. Just changing position enough, too.
Have either of you guys used or heard of people that used a standing desk while they were painting?
I actually know a couple.
And how does that work? Is that a good alternative?
For them, very well. They also make sure that they actually have a foot bar that they set their foot onto as well, so they're shifting their weight between their feet. That's another thing with standing desk is you can just kind of lock your position and then lock your hips, and then you're kind of riding your ligaments versus actually just actively standing. So kind of like the same where you'll find a lot of facilities to rest their foot onto.
Sure.
Just to help pressure or shift weight back and forth. Idealistically, if you have a movable desk, going from sitting position to standing position, and have the capability of doing that, being able to change your position as frequently as you need to is the ideal version to do things.
How about
I know
those big round balls people sit on?
So for
I always
safety's
spill
sake,
my drink on those. I can never sit
No.
for any length
No.
of time without the ball rolling and my drink going onto the carpet. So I don't
they,
know.
they make a safety feature for those. They actually make a ring so you don't do that, believe it or not, because some people do like sitting on them in their offices. And I have a lot of patients do exercises on them pretty frequently.
That's what that ring's for.
I don't even want to know.
Keep me from spilling.
That's your
I don't even want
guys'
to know what you and
minds
Jason
there.
were using it for.
That's your guys' minds there, as I had nothing to do with that. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So, all right. Now, have you changed? And this question comes from Jen Greenwald. She couldn't be on today. I think she was working. But I'd be curious to know how he decided to go from general hobbyist to producer seller of hobby stuff. And also, if that has changed his perspective on the hobby at all.
Good question, Jen.
Good question, Jen.
Right.
That one.
I have Jen and Rhonda are my research queens. They will send me some of the best questions because I'll send them kind of my half-ass list of questions I've thought up in 2 seconds, and then they'll give me like real content of questions. So most of the good, if I ask a good question, it's from one of them generally. Full disclosure.
Yeah,
But go
secrets
ahead.
down.
Yeah.
So it was tough for me to build the things I wanted for my kind of scenery. So the idea to sell the product was because I didn't want anyone to have to struggle to do that as I did, or have to come up with it in that sense. If someone was making out more valent plants or better plants, awesome, I would use them myself too.
Oh yeah! Look at that cup! Look at that cup! Where did you get that? Where can you get that cup, Jason?
Is it TeePublic? Crow's Nest store on TeePublic? Sorry, Greg, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just was taking a
I have a guy's t-shirt, so now I need a coffee mug.
Yeah. Boom. Did you get a t-shirt?
I did get a t-shirt.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, just so everybody knows.
Yep.
You got that. Is that the backside or is that a different cup? You got 2 cups?
No, that's the same cup. I got 2. You sent me 2 for Christmas.
No, I remember doing that totally.
That's a dirty lie.
Anytime anybody makes a purchase on the TeePublic store or the Zazzle store or whatever, we're saving that money and we are going to generate some prizes out of it. We just haven't got that far yet and generated enough dollars to actually buy anything worth anything. So yeah, but I like the mugs. The mugs came out really well. I think that'd be something we don't have to worry about sizing.
That's true.
Derek, yes, this is the new Lizette. That is a Bones Black miniature, not Bones Black, Bones in the USA for January, and Bobby redid it on the Lizette sculpt. It is based on Werner's earlier sculpt as well, and I think Bobby did a great job at it. And Derek, I hope I'm doing her justice as can come remotely close to your awesome job that you did a number of years ago, because you did a fantastic job, and I used some of your reference photos, and the actual freehand inside the cloak is an homage to your paint job, your original paint job. So, yeah.
So, Greg, back to your business. How's that been going? I know that when conventions were a thing long ago and far away, you were setting up at conventions with your merchandise. You mentioned that WAMP is carrying your stuff. WAMP is carrying your stuff over in the UK, which I think is tremendous. I mean, that's a big mail order place. So, how's it going otherwise?
Good. So Secret Weapon's carrying it as well. I've been working with Justin McCoy from Secret Weapon as far as new plants and new designs. And the idea for it, unfortunately, COVID has hit everyone kind of rough.
Right, sure.
Since I'm a treater, I'm doing more hours and doing less hours and having to take more precautions. So my time to design stuff has been a little rocked. And hopefully I can get more people involved in it too, because I know there's some other people who have some great design ideas, like Seth. And we're talking to him before COVID hit, And unfortunately, I want to try and re-get that going again because I think he has got some great ideas. Because he has some fantastic display pieces as well. So I think that's a great way to collaborate. So I don't collaborate with paint jobs, but I can definitely collaborate in basing design ideas and new things to help make basing more fun or making your scene more fun. I love building dioramas now more so than anything else because I put those little Easter eggs into it. And now it's like I'm playing an Easter egg hunt with other people. Here's Jason's lily pads, and we discuss how to fold the lilies and the lotuses for him. We got to collaborate about that. Got to collaborate about doing the palm trees. It's a way I get to collaborate with my friends on some neat projects now. And help to build out some stuff. So that's the fun part for me. It's just another part of the hobby and building on up a little bit. I hope it grows. It'd be nice to get more things out there for people and more options available for people.
I think as people see, I think as people see more of that, they'll think it's really tremendous. I think it really adds a lot to the miniatures I've seen, and as people have worked very, very hard on increasing their painting skill, so have they with the bases.
Absolutely. And the framing of the figures have become a lot more. And the fact that we didn't have anything at the scale that we were painting at with the 32 millimeter and 25 millimeter, it's not cool. The good plants are built for bigger stuff or for much larger scale things, such as trains. So it's just nice to make something for our scale, our size, and just try and improve upon it from there.
Green
I'm
users,
enjoying
Bob
it.
and Julie have a question.
Sure.
They were asking about the differences in painting Bones USA figures. They're better than Bones Black, which is better than Bones, which they're getting closer and closer to the quality of metal. I mean, they're so close in sharpness and crispness. I really like them where Reaper keeps pushing where the maturity of things are. So that's my little plug for that. But yeah, have you painted a lot of Bones, Greg?
Hit or miss. I actually do a lot more Bones for RPG stuff or to play with my airbrush. I haven't done as many of the character figures because as a huge sucker for everything Reaper, I think I have every character in metal at this point in time. So
have you painted any of the Bones USA stuff?
I have not.
Have you managed? Okay.
Yeah.
We need to maybe get Greg some Bones USA stuff.
Yeah, we need to get Ron, if Ron's on, get Greg Zuniga some Bones Black stuff or some Bones 5.
I have no problem painting for Reaper. I think I was the last Reaper Con or two before I actually painted one of the pieces for Reaper.
Yeah. Do you? I noticed, and this was a question I believe it came from Rhonda. Painter scale outside Reaper. I noticed that you paint a lot of bigger busts, bigger scale figures. You were showing us the Grudge bust earlier before we jumped on the show, I think. What's been your path in going into the larger scale, and has it helped you in your overall painting jumping into a larger scale at times?
So the first time doing that, I wanted to do some of that, but it was really like class with Carol that Reaper hosted. That really got me much more interested into it. It's all the fun parts of a model sometimes is that face and the facial expression. I have more opportunity to do with it. So when I'm doing that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, I'm not painting a boot. Painting a piece of cool armor that's a shoulder pad. So sometimes that's just the process for it. I'm trying to make sure I paint as much little stuff as I am big stuff. Because when I started trying to do 75 millimeter, I think it was actually Anne who called me out on it. I actually painted so much large stuff. My smaller stuff actually suffered a little bit. Because there is a slight difference in skill set needed between the two. Not so much in blending or anything like that, but you can... add more color to the cheeks. You can focus on the zones of the face a bit more. Just more room to do some of those extra hyperrealism. Which
with a larger figure.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the smaller figure now, I'm actually coming back and I'm still trying to add those back to a smaller figure now. That glaze that okay, let me get that glaze into the face and the cheeks in here. Can I do it on a smaller figure? Let me try it because I feel comfortable now with the idea of it. So it gives more playroom for that. It also gives you a chance to experiment with some different colors or different textures. Can this be applied to a smaller figure? If I make the eyes do this on a larger figure, how does that translate over to a smaller figure? Is lining as important on a larger figure or a small figure, and that contrast just as important? And that contrast and that lining sometimes is more important on a small figure to make a small figure look realistic. Because you don't have the natural light or shadowing on a large figure that comes down and helps you out a little bit. When the face is 40 times bigger than a 28 millimeter face, you have the room's light that helps you out a little bit sometimes. But again, with a small figure, okay, how do I make this work in that kind of scale or that kind of dimension? So I kind of enjoy that portion of things. Though actually, while I have Jason on, so Jason, for the Grudge Bust, was that one of the laster things you did before you switched over to more digital sculpting?
No, actually, I probably used green putty a couple years after the Grudge Bust, which is called the Grudge Bust because it was originally going to be for a grudge painting competition, but we decided to go another way with it. But it was very fun to do. Do you have it there? Can you show it?
Oh, yeah. Hold on here.
Dun, dun.
I love that. That's a great look you've achieved.
Yeah. Were you streaming with that?
Yeah, I was. So Fridays I typically stream larger figures, and then on Sundays we tend to stream smaller stuff like skirmish scales kind of stuff to build them up a little bit.
What's your Twitch channel?
It is Wicked Elf Nihilus.
Okay.
Let's see here. I'll drop it in chat.
Wicked Elf. Okay.
Nihilus.
Cool. Yeah.
I was actually originally Nihilus at a lot of places before, and then the name started taking, so I started having to add Wicked Elf Nihilus to everything.
Right. So and you've been streaming for a little while now. How has streaming and thinking about streaming and planning it out before? Because you're a planner guy. You don't just wing it. You don't just show up like some of us do. Just say, oh crap, I got to do a show today. How has that affected your overall painting or anything in your approaches? And an add-on question to that, part B to this question is, has it changed your enjoyment of the hobby as well?
Feels very weird that I'm not the only person on screen right now.
Yeah, there you go, Justin. Justin fell asleep for a second. I don't know what happened.
That's okay. Yeah. Like, wow, I feel really like you're center attention.
No, my vMix had an issue for a second. It was locked down. It was hesitating. I was like, well, I guess it could be worse. We got Greg on screen. It's fine.
I feel very
we always have a plan to, at some point in the show, make the guest as uncomfortable as possible. So we achieved it this show.
Just make sure to cover the titles of your books in your bookshelf, because now you're going to get docked.
You know what? If they have that many medical textbooks, that's just impressive.
That's right.
Also, as a quick side note, Jason, you have mod ability.
Oh, okay. So I can start kicking people out of chat.
Jason Power.
Cool. Do we need to kick anybody out? Who do we want to kick out?
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay, cool.
So the streaming actually took place of conventions for me. I miss the interaction while painting. And some of the times I paint are not always the best to have a person on the phone and talk to. So I started off the stream as just an open call to, chill and paint and relax and do things. The idea for doing the bus on Friday was more so for the fact that before it was my day off from work, I don't see a lot of people painting busts on Twitch. So I wanted to focus on doing some larger scale stuff on Twitch on Fridays. And then I made a promise for another buddy that, when this is all over with, we'll start playing some more skirmish games. Because we realized how much we were missing out on actually getting together and just playing the game. So the idea for Sunday was just a relaxing painting. Start getting people's projects done. Less instruction and more, open chat and open talk. And okay, well, how do you do this? Well, this is how I do this. And getting those projects done. So not a paint job, but a high tabletop. And then how to eventually we're also talk about how to repair figures once they're broken, which is a thing I've had to do several times, unfortunately. I'm not sure, but I actually had one of my display cases, boxes for traveling to shows, flip on my table one year. And I actually had to repair everything before a show.
And Greg Zuniga is known to have issues with the TSA in his box.
Yes. TSA likes to muck with me severely. I'm still surprised I got out of Texas one time without being suspected of murder because they dump weathering pigments inside my box.
They like to turn your box upside down and twist it around and shake it. That's such a nightmare scenario as we go through TSA with our little created pieces.
I'm surprised TSA in New Jersey hasn't flying tackled me yet. Because I straight up cussed one of them out as they tilted my box because they're actually holding the case. Goes, whose figures is this? I'm like, don't turn it upside down for God's sake, so you can see into it. So hopefully eventually
I'll open it up
how to
and
repair figures.
Around.
We did one trip. I actually came through Boston 2 days after the Boston bombing, and the TSA agent legit wanted to swab every one of my figures.
Just to see if they've been in an explosion, or you just roll them around in the ammonium nitrate before you get on the plane.
They're full of busted explosives. I don't know. But it's very weird getting those stares when the TSA agent's solely focusing on you and people are looking at you like, what the hell did this person do? I've had some adventures with that. But the streaming was just to take place at conventions. It was a good way to talk to people and talk about the hobby and something that I really enjoy. So it's more for fun than anything else. But it does help in the fact that people ask questions, so sometimes you start thinking about painting. How do I do this? Like I'm making action poses.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing there. It's pretty herky-jerky.
I
think he disconnected.
My camera and my internet's freezing up if you guys can hear me.
So mine has been the whole time.
Can you hear me right now?
So I maybe see what the TSA is talking about, Zuniga.
They just logged in right now.
You have this ability to create havoc just from your screen appearance. Michael's maybe frozen or maybe fooling us.
No, I think his internet's having issues. I'm having, on this end, it's telling me that he's having latency problems. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's back.
Oh,
so
we're back.
You mentioned skirmish games. What skirmish games do you like to play? Because that's my favorite level of gaming, I think.
So we took a vote on the stream, and the first thing we're going to start off with is Malifaux from Weird.
Oh, okay. That's a great game.
I'm excited to go into Arena Rex because I'm a huge fan of historicals, and they actually have an Arena of Rex faction, despite it being fantasy gladiator combat. One of the factions is actually all traditional gladiators, so I'm looking forward to that one. And that's super small. If you have 3 or 4 figures for that one, you're all set for it.
Right.
And then you can add a lion to the arena. I'm looking forward to that one a lot. But that's my soft spot because my starting point for tabletop.
You could have a saber-toothed pug in there. Just saber-toothed pug come running into the arena.
That'd be frightening.
It might be. Yeah, it might tip the scales too much. It might be unfair.
That's true.
It might be unbalanced the game. That pug would just dominate. So.
Both in adorableness and in damage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just steamroll everybody. Knock them out at the ankles. All right, Greg, what else you got going on?
Everything else. Yeah, the painting is that part. Wicked Elf. Hopefully, we'll have some figures out in the future. I do have one figure of Wicked Elf Catherine, I can't think of the young woman's name, was actually a historical figure that was a notorious bandit. That supposedly, if you go by legend, was living a double life as a prim and proper lady at one point in time, and then doing a reverse Batman and going out and being a highwaywoman in the evenings.
Are you sculpting up these miniatures for your line?
Is that figure on your website?
It is.
Yeah, I've seen that figure. It's a great figure.
No, but it's again another way for me to collaborate with other people. I want to try and do some of the weirder historical figures or some interesting parts. I also like to do some more Baroque period figures because I think that's an area ripe for fantasy figures that we haven't really used a lot of, is Baroque period and Baroque. That love of historical I'm bringing back on in. And hopefully once we get cons going again, hopefully I can get the historical shows going again. I'm working with the Hobby University.
That's going to be a real painting challenge to get some of those Baroque costumes.
Right, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Sculpting challenge.
Which is great because as far as role playing goes, my first place for role playing was like in Planescape campaigns, and I look at a lot of the art from Planescape, fancy art. It has a lot of Baroque influence to it, so I thought it'd be neat to actually have some figures that actually match along with that look and that style. But hopefully, once things calm down with COVID a little bit, things can get rolling again, because I think everything kind of hit hard. Stop.
Absolutely, I second that, and I'm sure voices across the country are seconding.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, me too. I want to get back to the real world and see people in person. While these are always great, these videos and
it's nothing like going to a real show.
Doing these Twitches, there's nothing like that time, and be able to see everybody in person. Oh, look, Midwest Miniature Guy is on. I haven't done a shout out to folks.
Yeah.
Saw Derek on earlier. Bob and Julie are on. I saw Gene on. Tom Nelson. Mendes. I've never seen him pop up before. Bobby's on. Mini Grinder's on.
Wow.
Twisted
Dough. Lots of people.
On. Rings is on. Buglifts was on earlier. With his. Of course, Rhonda was on. Is still probably on. Redcon 1. No more ZZ Top jokes. I think that's a reference to you, Jason. And there's a lot of other folks. Dogfather we referenced, Kerniko, Derek mentioned. So thanks everybody for tuning in on our last show of the year.
Yeah, I was growing a rally beard. I just thought, I'll just grow my beard out till COVID's over. That was back in February, and I keep waiting, and it keeps growing. So I don't know what's going to happen.
The joke at work is we're on March day 300.
Yeah.
It's definitely. Are you going to put some beads in it?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, we talked about the whole George Clinton thing,
Yeah.
when we were trying to decide on music for the show.
Yeah. Oh, and we're working on some music for the show. You want to talk about that a little bit, Jason?
I can't talk about too much yet, but my son-in-law is a gifted musician and has several bands, and he's offered to do some bumper music for us because, as you know, you can't restream any DMCA stuff on Twitch, so we're kind of stuck with non-copyrighted material. So we'd like to actually have some bumper music we can copyright ourselves. So very much like Greg, actually, you find a spot you need to improve and you start making something to fill it.
Right.
And the fun part is, especially when you're filling those spots, is you get to work with people. I think at this point in time, I appreciate more collaborations and projects and, actually being creative with another person much more than I, before COVID.
That is
right now.
There's more intensity to that now, and I do hope that's something that we are able to preserve after this. I think we've all learned a lot about creativity and the creative process through this, and it'd be really nice if we could all come away with it with at least that small gift.
I think something fun in the future would be.
We're at the end of 2020, coming up to the new year. do you guys have any New Year's resolutions? Anything? Do you do New Year's resolutions? Do you try to follow them? And if so, make something up. What are you going to do for next year?
There's no resolution. There's no rule that says your resolution can't be for evil. So I want to become a supervillain in my next year. I feel it flows well
Okay.
for 2021.
Cool. Cool.
No, I would like to do more shows. I'd like to do all the shows as soon as that starts coming up. So hopefully next year we can go back to conventions. And I think my one goal for when we go back to conventions is to give every person a hug that deserves one. Just for making it through 2020.
That deserves one. That's the key thing, that deserves one. And that has not come in contact with Aaron Lovejoy because he's patient zero at every con he goes to.
That's true.
That is true. He is the bearer.
So you need to contact Trace. If anything's good come out of this, we can contact Trace Aaron Lovejoy when he shows up to the show.
And here comes, there goes the bus right there.
I think if we sequester him with like a 6-foot hula hoop just to make sure for contact.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I think just bringing more of what I missed from this year into to next year. More contact with friends. More phone calls. Traveling out to see a few people because it's very easy to go. Well, I'll do it next time. You know what I mean? So shows, go visit out, and then just do more of that. I'm super looking forward to it. I'm an introvert who says that, so. It tells you how bad 2020 was. When the introvert goes, I want to get out.
Yeah, I'm a hermit, but I'm sick.
You have those badass boots that haven't seen the light of day since probably March, right?
Yeah. Okay. It's actually funny because I used to be joked about being the evil Mr. Rogers because I used to go to the office in boots and change into a pair of dress shoes. And since this point in time, I just stopped. I just walk right into the dress shoes. It's not even worth it at this point in time.
Yeah, Jason, that's 2 references to evil that Greg's just thrown down. I think there's a trend here that I didn't really know about before.
I'm calling TSA.
I want to be a supervillain. Absolutely. I have all the best fun. You watch any movie, they get the best lines, and they also look like they're having the most fun with it. So. Okay.
Now, Jason, what do you have we're getting towards the end of our time frame here, and what is your New Year's resolution, or do you even have one, or do you bother?
I'm going to continue to work on my sculpting. That's an ongoing one that I never have to worry about breaking because I love to sculpt. Over COVID, I actually built a couple of musical instruments, and I only have a rudimentary knowledge on how to play them. So I have a cigar box ukulele and a 3-string guitar I built on a shovel. And I'd like to learn how to play both of those better.
Wow.
I mean, right now I don't know much about it, but it just I was looking around and I thought, well, so I'd like to learn how to play those. Other than that, pretty much the same as Greg was talking about. I sure would like to see more people in person. That'd be great. Some more conventions would be fantastic. And like I said, carrying some of the lessons that we learned during this time into the future, even when the virus is hopefully corralled, some of the lessons we learned about ourselves and about our fellow man, I'd like to be able to put some of those into practice. And that can be as evil as you want it to be, I suppose.
Yeah. There's avenues for that, definitely. Yeah.
How about you?
I was just seeing if there were... I was waiting for you to ask. I thought you never would.
See, I wasn't picking up on your subtle cues.
What for me, again, to enjoy the hobby, to continue to push myself painting, to try more risky things, to try pushing my skills and my talents, but trying to incorporate what I like with other folks too. And then with Jason joining the Crow's Nest and I've told him this, I've even said this on the show, it's kind of reinvigorated my interest in the show. And I want to bring on, and Jason and we want to try to push this show a little bit more and bring on some more guests. And like we're doing today, I want to showcase my friends and the people that we know in the industry and kind of give them a show. Yeah, give them a show to give them a shout out is really what the
We've got
intent
some
of this
people
show's
lined
kinda
up
turning
that
into.
I don't think have been on Twitch that everybody wants to talk to. We've got some plans for the show. We've got music for the show. Justin's got some
Mhm.
ideas for some things we're going to do. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward
Right.
to this continuing as well. Sorry to step on your
Our
resolution.
name badges. I know
Those
our
are
name
great.
badges. That's a Justin development. The music
That's
Justin
not
has
easy
thrown
to
in there
do.
as well. No, I mean it's there. The badges are a little long, Justin. I think they're reaching out too far. Maybe some fixing of that in the future might be good. Oh, but back to me and my um, really is to and my other little personal thing too is I've been trying to learn Spanish for the last 2 years. I need to get back on that and get back into yeah, there you go, Justin. The one on Jason's is perfect. And is to really pick up my Spanish a little bit more, and I really want to learn a second language and actually be fluent in it or be close enough to it. So that's my other New Year's resolution. And earn.
That's
Yeah,
even
thanks,
better.
Justin. I appreciate that. That's even.
Just
You're
a
doing
stub.
a bang up job. Yeah, just a nub. Just call me nub. So anyway,
Nub Proctor, that'd be good. I think that's
Yeah.
got to stick. Are you going to buy a
there
new
you go,
helmet
Bobby.
this year?
I need to. It was Christmas week. It was last week. Christmas Day, I think. Yeah, I got to ride my mountain bike again for the first time since I had the near fatal crash.
But you haven't replaced your helmet.
No, I still rode with my damaged helmet, but I didn't crash.
You gotta get a new helmet.
When?
Yeah, get a new helmet.
Yeah, I gotta get a new helmet. I gotta get a new helmet.
Hey, wait!
So.
I want to hear Justin's New Year's resolution.
Justin.
That's a great question. It would be to finish probably even half of the projects that we have, either via the video department or our YouTube channel or you name it. There's a million things we need to do, and we need a million more hours to do them. So, but outside of that, I mean, I would say just making progress in the department. Hopefully having all of the primary sets constructed for everything very soon, because I'm kind of ready for the studio to be complete instead of always in this state of construction. So,
what about from a personal standpoint?
From a personal standpoint, that's probably to lose weight. I know that's kind of overplayed, but genuinely to lose weight. Fix my posture, which I'm sure Greg will like to hear.
Yes.
Because that does need to happen. But outside of that, I mean, successfully refinance my house. I want that to happen. That needs to happen.
That's a good thing to do right now, especially.
Yeah.
But
that's about it. I don't have a whole lot right now. Ask me again in another 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right.
We will.
Write it down.
We'll see how you. Do we want to do like a monthly check-in with you on how you're?
Yeah. I want you to be thorough. Yes, please.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
And hold me accountable too.
And then when
let's have Greg on to judge Justin's progress.
You know what?
Yeah.
We'll do that
Final
once a
posture.
month. Greg will judge my progress.
And we'll do something in chat. Yeah, we'll do a pass-fail, and chat can judge you on how you're doing, and then
there you go.
We can do a poll, and then
that can't go wrong. That's perfect. That can't go wrong.
I think that'd be perfect.
I'm just saying, we leave it open to the public. That's also how we got a boat named Bodie McBoatface. It may not be the best system in the world.
No, historically, Twitch chat isn't a great place to give the reins to. Let's be honest.
Bodie McBoatface, I thought was a great name. I'm just saying, that was really cool.
Oh, absolutely.
With that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I thought they should have ran with that one.
No idea.
The public had spoken. That was the name.
Well, we almost called the show Painty McPaintface, but Justin nixed it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Up on the crow's nest.
I was going to tell you, Greg, we always have Justin do some show prep, and he sends us notes. I could not use a single thing that Justin said about you because of the terms of service on Twitch. Not a single thing.
Yeah,
whole sheet. It was like a rap sheet. I started to read it. I said, I can't say this on national Twitch channels. Good Lord.
No, it was mildly offensive, wasn't it?
It was mind-bending is what it was. The Wicked Elf is a pretty good name, I think.
Well, you know what they say, ain't no rest for the wicked. So
Wicked.
That's true.
Well, his Google searches and what he pulled back on Wicked Elf was not the same as what Greg was doing. That's all.
You know,
I have to
that would
say.
make a
It
lot
just
of
didn't
sense.
stand.
That's probably
Hey,
what
Justin,
he did.
you got to clean your cookies, baby. You got to
Right.
clean your
That's
cookies. That's all
probably
I
what he
gotta
did.
say. Yeah.
That's a whole
Well,
different line
getting
of
towards the
different products.
end, Greg. So Wicked Elf, wickedelf.com.
Miniatures. Yeah.
Miniature. Make Wicked Elf minis or miniatures?
Miniatures.
Okay. Yeah. Check out all of his Vellum stuff. There's a lot of great things. The butterflies, of course, are my first and favorite. Just so much. Just
You're my
so
favorite.
awesome. Greg's going to be teaching at the virtual ReaperCon. You're teaching 3 classes, 2 classes. I forget what you.
So I had it in for the third. I was debating it. So I'm definitely doing a plants class where I'm going to do a weathering class.
Yeah.
And then I'm probably going to add in a second plants class because it seemed like enough people wanted that. So we'll probably do one
I
plants on
tuned
Saturday,
in.
one plants on Sunday.
Yeah,
And
I tuned in and
one
heckled your
on,
class at Reapel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuned
But
in and
every
heckled
time
you a
guys
little
pop into
bit
one of my
at.
classes, I'm like, why are you here? You guys paint better than me.
No.
It's like the very first class I did.
learned a ton.
Aaron Lovejoy took a class with me at HMGS one time. I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's got a valid point. You know, you always can learn something because
Yeah, no one knows
made-
everything. Well, a couple people
Just
I
does
know
it.
know everything, but
I have a few patients like that too. But everyone can do something just in a different way. It's something to learn from. You know what I mean? Even if just you pick out that one little thing different, and that's what I had to do for like my non-stock metal. Like it just, someone had to say the phrasing that just made it click in my brain in a better way. So it's always worthwhile taking other people's way of doing things.
All right. So you got that, and now you have your Twitch stream, and then when are you streaming on Twitch?
So Fridays tend to be 8 o'clock to 11 midnight. It depends on how late everything's going. And then on Fridays it tends to be like noon till 3. Oh, sorry, Sundays to noon till 3.
Perfect. So join that, and that's Wicked Elf Nelios. What Wicked Elf?
Yep.
Type in Wicked Elf and you'll.
Neolus.
Yeah, just type in Wicked Elf and it'll fill in the rest, and you'll search for it, and then save it and make it your follow it, and then boom, it's always there, and it'll pop up on Friday nights and Sunday mornings or Sundays, right? Cool.
Yep.
So yeah, Jason, anything more to add for the last show of 2020?
Well, first I'd like to thank Greg for coming on the show. Obviously, he's outclassed us both. Again, we keep getting guests.
But yes, he did.
Yeah, it's not hard to do, but still, I really appreciate Greg showing up. As far as final thoughts for 2020, I've got a lot of them, and again, I can't use them because of Twitch's terms of service. But I hope everybody has a great New Year's. I hope everybody had a great holiday season so far. I want everybody to stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing everything right. And let's hope for better times 2021.
Right. Yeah. You said it all. I don't know if I can add anything. I could say fuck you to 2020. Will that work, Justin?
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me go back.
I'm allowed one of those a show. I'm allowed one of those a show.
You know, someone clips that just right and cuts off the 2020. It's kind of great.
Yeah.
Just saying. Hint to anyone in chat.
All right. Let's not do that, and let's not have that show up in the highlight reel thing.
You know, you shouldn't do stuff that shows up in the highlight reel. It's very simple, Michael. We talked about this. Save that for your other channels.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Well, there you go.
Well, thank you again, Greg, for coming on the show today. It's always great to have some new people on the show. So, a quick base touching here in terms of shows for the rest of the week. Tomorrow we have Ant show, and then we have We have the Brennan Presents Miniatures Den in the afternoon. Thursday, we're not doing a Reaper Live. We're going to be doing, I believe, a show in the morning and a show, and then Sadie's show at 3, unless that gets canceled. I don't think it's going to, but that is the current schedule. So thank you guys very much for spending your time here today with us. We appreciate you as always. Go pick up some Crow's Nest merch, and until then, we're out. See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys. Thanks so much for watching.
See you guys.
Have a
Happy
great
New
week.
Year.
Talk to you next week.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye.